All right, I'm here with Zachary Wright from the Porvoo Butchers, defensive back. Zach, welcome to the podcast, man.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
It's great. It's great to have you on. We're gonna jump right into the interview. First things first, you came back to the Butchers. Why? Why'd you come back? What's on your mind? What's the motivation for coming back to Porvoo once again?
Well, first of all, I mean this team and organization, and the people here were just too awesome, too nice not to stick around. It just always felt like home. Just was something an organization I've never really experienced while being over here. I know I haven't experienced very many, but they definitely get you right over here. And maybe winning a championship might have helped a little bit, but you know, we kind of all the guys were just talking throughout the off season, the first few months. We're like, I think we just came to a conclusion. You're like, why not? Let's just do it again. We just all enjoyed each other's company. We just had a great time, and
that
we just
that's what's always interesting about this for me because I was like even like last year when you guys won championship, I was like, oh man, this is perfect way for a lot of these guys to just ride off into the sunset. And then you all came back. I was like, what? I was like, huh?
no,
And
yeah,
now
you
it's
actually be
bring it
surprised.
back.
That was a lot of people's same mentality right after this season. You're like, wow, this is a great way to retire. I mean, even a couple of old heads and guys still did retire, or maybe play a couple games this next season, depending on how it goes. But for the most part, we all were like riding off into the sunset, and then we're like somewhere in December or late November, we're like, maybe you know what? Maybe we should try this again.
Yeah, bring it
and
back. Bring it
yeah,
back.
and it started
That's
with just
awesome.
literally one person, and then the next thing you know, it happened. Kept just
Snowball.
folding. You have just the snowball effect. You have just everybody's like, okay, he came back, I'll come back. And it's
Okay.
still we're still trying to get those other guys that retired to kind of come out of retirement. Just one more year.
Yeah, one
Just
more. Why not?
why
Yeah.
not? Exactly.
Finish on a
We're
back
already
to
all
back.
here. Yeah, we're already all here. Nothing sounds better than back to back. So,
It's like it reminds me of those like videos online you see where someone's like they have a spotter and they're doing a rep and he's like, okay, one more. And you do one more. And they're like, one more. You're like,
yeah,
okay, come on, one more. Next thing you know, you've done like five
yeah.
more.
Just keep going. One more. One more.
One more.
One more.
One more will get you there because that's that whole Tom Brady mentality. Like,
Yeah, very true.
one
What-
more.
Or what's the best one is the next one, right?
Obviously. So, getting into the team this season a little bit, you guys are bringing back a lot of the same personnel, but also, got a couple changes. What kind of improvement or major changes can we expect from you guys this year? What is something that you think that we'll notice on the field or on the team this year?
Um, I would say probably our drive. I feel like, especially being here in Praxton already is completely different from where it was a year ago at this time. From having a struggle of getting enough people to play for have both sides to do 11-on-11 even to now having like you know people that can we just constantly throwing in people to having more reps, more and more. So that's super nice thing to see, which I've heard it comes with winning a championship.
That's what happens when you win. People
Yeah,
do want to
yeah.
play when you win.
Yep, I guess winning makes everything easier for sure. Uh,
Well,
and outside of that, but yeah, we just there's I feel like there's a little bit different of a you know emotion that we have through here, where it's you know last year, like you guys been talking about, it's last year we were kind of flying under the radar. Not everybody was really like giving us our best, for so to say. Like if you were the number one team all season, you're always just going to keep getting that and getting that. So there's definitely going to be a different preparation for that than there was last year when we were just sneaking up on people, being the underdog every single game.
yeah, that reminds me. I'm going to ask you specifically because I've been saying it for record last year as well. The defense was the issue for me last year. The defense was the issue, and you know me, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. If you weren't on the defense, that team would have been horrible, in my opinion. And not to give you too much credit, I mean, you deserve it. Obviously, you're a great player, but a lot of what you guys did defensively, statistically, it wasn't great. You gave up a lot of yards, a lot of points at times, but where you came in a lot of times that I think really helped you guys is, and now in the championship, that's a whole nother thing. Y'all played great. That's the best defensive game I've ever seen y'all play. But throughout the season, a lot of times you guys were able to come away with wins because of turnovers, like strategic turnovers, like at the right time turnovers,
Yeah.
aka pick sixes for you a lot of times. Like that's
Mhm.
not that's not really a recipe for success, but it
Yeah.
worked out last year. So my real question is like going into this year, what do you think you guys are going to do to kind of be a little bit more consistent and bring back that championship defense? Because the way you guys played in championship, lights out, best defense I've ever seen from you guys last year, and that defense, that's championship caliber. But what do you think you guys are going to do to bring that into regular season mode?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of it had to do with throughout the season, especially, being the team we were the year before. It was just tough getting people to show up every
Hmm.
week. Even at a lot of games, we wouldn't have our complete 11 starters every game, and so that was definitely a hard adjustment for a lot of it. But and at the same time, I think we kind of just figured something out right at the right time,
Hmm.
and which is sometimes all it comes down to is coming together at the right time, having or playing your best at the right time, aka NC State, for if anybody knows, for basketball.
Yeah, March
they're
Madness, yeah.
yeah, they're literally one made free throw away from not making it, even being like even getting into the championship in the AC in their conference. But they won like 10 games in 12 days or something, and just kicked in at the right time. So they ended up being a really good team, finishing in the Final Four. And we kind of came at a different attitude after that our last regular season game. We're like, okay, we're here, but now we need to get to another level on top of that, because winning these games by 1-2 points at the last second isn't going to be enough in the playoffs. And so I think we worked a little extra harder. He did a little extra stuff throughout the weeks, and I think we're gonna, by bringing that into this season, carrying it on, is what probably is gonna help us. Not and we kind of had like a little, what I've been here, because I haven't only been here for a little bit, but hearing all the adjustments we've made, we're making a little more strict policies within the team. Holding more people accountable type stuff. So, and that right there just is showing change of how much this is meaning to us already, and just the little stuff like that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Mhm.
Accountability, that's the earmark of a champion. Like if you're accountable, that's usually how you build championship culture, and that's what it seems like you guys are doing is building that championship culture in Porvoo, which let's be honest, it's been missing for a while. And
It
I
has
say
been.
and I say that for anybody from Porvoo to actually take that seriously. The that confidence of, hey, we want to do things and set a standard. Bringing that back to Porvoo, that's a big thing for the Maple League. Which
Mhm.
actually brings me to my last question. Like I said, it was going to be quick, Zach. I'll get you out of
Yeah.
here. My last question for you is, if you've been keeping up with the Maple League, I hope you have, since you'll be playing in it. A lot of change across the league, a lot of different, you know, coaching changes, personnel changes. Even you guys have a couple of changes. So it's been said, and I believe it wholeheartedly, even though I've already picked the Butchers as my number one pick. Like there's no going back from that. But it's anybody's game this year. Like more than it was last year. Like
Mhm.
there's no clear, like, oh, this team is gonna be the front runner. I mean, and just to throw this out there at you, because this literally just happened. I've talked to a couple, Royals players, and they feel like even though y'all are the champions, y'all never beat them. So they're like we're not afraid of them. Like we feel like we got a good chance to win the whole thing because that's the team that won last year. We just gotta play them more often. So again, all this is going on. Like there's just craziness. Like even the Wolverines think they have a chance to win it. Like, and they're not wrong. So for you, what is like the most exciting thing about this season coming up in the Maple League? Like what is really getting your eye about this season?
Well, from what I've gathered, is this is uh, a year that's like nothing, no other year has been in Finland. You know, we had an extra import slot, so you get already making the whole league better just by adding one more American per team, and up to two more if you get if you get an offensive lineman. So
Hmm.
the league is definitely going to be way more challenging this year, even with a whole bunch of changes, just with the new rules implemented. So I'm looking real forward to that because I think Finland is kind of like not on a high radar as it should be within Europe football, but I mean they play second in all of Europe in the football games in the nationals, so I think that has something to show for it. And we're getting the same rules now that the GFL has with the four imports, two on each side type thing. So I think this league
I'll
definitely
throw
this
this
year.
out there just to throw this in there. I'll put the top three Maple League teams against the top three GFL teams any day. I'm just
Mm,
putting it out there. Like it's a crazy thing that they don't play against each other more,
yeah,
but a lot of players, and I'm sorry to cut in your point, but I got to throw out this when I can. I've had a
yeah,
lot of players come to me and ask me, do I go to GFL or do I go to Maple League? And they're on par with each other. And I think
mm-hmm,
outside of like players, a lot of people don't know that or think that. A
mm-hmm,
lot of people that haven't played in one or the other, or actually a lot of people who haven't played in Finland, don't understand how good the competition is.
mm-hmm. Yep, and I played at GFL one my very first year here, and that was just at the start of the ELF. But ALF is kind of taking all that talent out there. I get from a Finnish standpoint, like they want to get out and go to GFL so they can be, or the ELF to be considered pro or get that pro
Mhm.
status. Whereas if they're playing home, they're just kind of playing in the league, not quite pro for them.
Yeah.
So I understand that point of view, but yeah, I definitely think the Finnish league, the Maple League this year is going to be at an all high level. And I was thinking that too. Like whoever wins it this year definitely needs to go play somewhere. The same team, just go play abroad. Some other team, just if just to put the country on the map. It definitely deserves. They definitely deserve it for sure. But
I
yeah,
I hate that the last time that we played internationally, like a Maple League team, Kuopio went to Sweden and they lost, and then the Roosters hosted Schwabers Hall and they lost. And
I,
the thing is, Schwabers, the year that the Roosters lost to Schwabers Hall, that Roosters team was not a normal Roosters team. And a
mm,
lot of people just didn't understand that until they saw that game. But outside of like, people that are in the know, just looks like, oh, well, they couldn't compete with the GFL level team. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
mm.
saying the GFL, not the best team in the GFL against the Roosters the year after they're the best version of themselves.
Yeah, I think it needs to be like the same set team, the same Americans, the same amount, no, nothing more, like nothing less than that, of course, because at the end of the day, your American imports are the ones who could really change the day of the game. And if your best player is your best option is a quarterback, wide receiver set, and one of them is not there, that completely changes the whole aspect. Or a new
Yeah.
import from that's not maybe not as good as the last year's import was.
I say we go no holds bar, throw them rules out the window, come with your league team and our league team, and we just play a game. I'm all
Yeah.
about the pride. I don't care about the whole playing in the CFL, playing in
Mhm.
IFAF. No, screw that. I want to see best football. And I think that's one thing that we miss. I don't know if you're old enough to remember it, but there used to be this thing called the Euro Bowl. Bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring it back. I loved
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I'm wholeheartedly whatever a Finnish town or team decides to like start a ELF team first, or a European League team. I think it will do good. As like I know it comes with expenses and who can afford what, but I think there's enough talent in Finland to definitely make their mark on this league or in Europe for sure. I think it'll be
Definitely.
And then they'll most likely get all their, Finnish stars that are out in the ELFs and GFL, and they'll come back and play for their team. So I think they'll definitely be able to do good enough. Whoever does it first, whenever it happens. But yeah. And I'm hoping that all the teams because there's definitely been some great talent that's been recruited to these teams this season, I've been noticing. And I'm just hoping, everybody actually comes in, follows through, because I have seen a couple or heard a couple players that left this league, and I don't know where they went to, but I definitely think they're going to be missing out this season for sure. They're definitely underrating this league.
Yeah, it's definitely underrated.
And I've played in both too, and I played in the GFL right when the ELF was kicking off, so not everybody was, in the ELF yet, and so there's still a bunch of talent in GFL, and they're very similar in play style and physicality. And GFL might just have a little more money, nicer equipment, nicer fields, but at the end of the day, it's the players, not the stuff you get.
Yeah, that's for sure. Germany's just a bigger country. That's all. If it was a little bit smaller, it'd be more, comparable. But Zach, again, I appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. Good luck to you and the Butchers this season, and we'll be watching you here on the AFF podcast.
Thank you. Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Look forward to the season. Gonna have a blast. Look forward to hearing from you as well.
Of course.